Hello world! Welcome back to another HackerRank Python challenge video. In this video, we're going to be solving string validators. Let's get started. Identify the presence of alphanumeric characters, alphabetical characters, digits, lowercase and uppercase characters in a string. Okay. Python has built-in string validation methods for basic data. It can check if a string is composed of alphabetical characters, alphanumeric characters, digits, etc. All right, and so we see a bunch of functions that basically return, Boolean values, true or false, if it is to be the case, right? So isAlpha checks to see if the string is alphanumeric, and isAlpha checks to see if it's just alpha, which is alphabetic, right? So just letters, right? And then, isDigit, isLower checks for lowercase, etc., right? Oh, that's interesting too. I completely forgot about this. isLower, if there are letters, if there are numbers and special characters in the string along with the letters, it ignores those for isUpper and isLower. So that's something to keep in mind. But anyways, let's look at the actual task. You're given a string S. Your task is to find out if the string S contains alphanumeric characters, alphabetical characters, digits, lowercase and uppercase characters. And then we do have some constraints. So why don't we go ahead and just take care of the constraints real quick, get those out of the way. So we're gonna have if length of the string is not in range of, and it's going to be 1, right? Because 0 is excluded to 1000. 1000 is also excluded. Then we're gonna say print string must be exclusively between 0 and 1000. Awesome. I'm gonna just say exit. All right, now we can dive into the logic. So the output format should be as follows. In the first line, print true if S has any alphanumeric, otherwise print false. In the second line, print true if S has any alphabetical characters, otherwise print false. Okay, so it's saying any characters in the string, right? It's not checking the whole string like we saw earlier with the examples they gave us with the functions, right? With the library functions. It's saying we need to print true if there's any instance of these types of characters. So you may be thinking, oh, I need to loop through each character and check, well, if this character is isAlpha, if this character is whatever, right? But the thing is, every time we loop through the for loop, right, and we would have these all in separate if conditions, it's going to continuously repeat and go through each if condition, right? If it's true. And it'll just keep reassigning if it's true. It's just inefficient, right? There's actually a function that I would like to introduce to you, and it's called any. And what any does is it basically says, well, you can read the description here, returns true if Boolean is true for any x in the iterable. So any takes an iterable. And what that is just a for loop, and it's going to be just like when we do list comprehensions, right? So our first value is going to be what we're checking, or the condition, as you would call it, right? And I think the first one is alphanumeric, right? So c dot is alnum, and then we're going to say for c in str, or string, right? So for c in s. And what that's going to do is it's going to say, hey, for every character in the string, if there's one that is alnum, this returns true, right? So why don't we just go ahead and run that code and see what it comes up with? Oh, right, you actually have to print that out. So print and you'll notice that our input is QA2, and that's completely alphanumeric, right? Each one of those characters is alphanumeric, so our output does return true. So instead of having a for loop that has a bunch of if conditions, and those if conditions are gonna just repeat every single time, especially if it's already true for a certain case, right? And which is totally viable. You could do it that way. The thing is, again, that's inefficient. We don't wanna have it repeating things over and over again once it's already found the solution, right? So, I mean, we could have also set up functions, right? We could have set up functions that also told us, that, hey, check for is_alnum, and we could have done, 5 different functions, right? One for alphanumeric, one for alphabetical, so on and so forth, and then just return whether, a character is what it's supposed to be, right? Or, sorry, the Boolean value. But that's not, again, not efficient. This is way easier. So now that we have that, right? And again, any means that it's going, this function right here returns a Boolean value, which is going to be the first one here. This isn't list comprehension though, right? So whatever this first value here isn't what's being appended to a list, right? It's what's being determining the Boolean condition, right? So we could have put an if condition in here as well that said if c dot is alnum is equal to true, but we can literally just say c dot is alnum since it's already a Boolean function, right? And it's just saying, hey, for every C and S, do check this, right? Check if it's alphanumeric. Again, I hope that makes sense, so because we're going to keep using it. So if any C dot is alpha, right? Or C and S. And that's all we need there too. So we'll just copy this, and I believe there's 5 inputs, so we can just use the same thing 5 times. So the next one is digit, and then believe it's, is lower and is upper. We run that code. Should give us an answer. All right. So let's go ahead and submit, make sure all our test cases pass, and they did. And that wraps it up for this video. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you can get regular content from us injected straight into your feed. Leave any feedback in the comment section down below, and check out our Discord server and Patreon links in the description box down below. This is Almond Milk. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, world.